Hello and welcome everybody to the April software release update of Access OS, the operating system that powers our Access network devices. My name is Andre Bastard and I'm with the Access OS product management team here at Access Communications. As part of our software release update series, we're now going to take a look at what's new in Access OS 11.10 and then follow through with a sneak preview on what comes next. But before we start, let's recap shortly on where we actually are with Access OS. As you can see, we're getting quite close to the end of the Access OS 11 lifecycle, and there's not much time left before we create the Access OS 2024 LTS track. And after that, we're going to increase the Access OS major version from 11 to 12 and start releasing the next active track of Access OS 12 in Q3 2024. And here comes a more detailed plan. So looking at the Access OS 11 lifecycle, we started back in September 2022 with 11.0 and have done quite some releases after that, where we're now arriving at Access OS 11.10. The next update after that will be 11.11 in June, and then from that we will create the Access OS 2024 LTS track, and that will complete the Access OS 11 lifecycle altogether. In September then, after some time, we will be launching the next active track that we call Access OS 12, with the first initial release of 12.0. And for the ones unaware, here's a short summary explaining the differences between Access OS active track and the long-term support tracks that are combined together, making up the Access OS lifecycle. So while the LTS tracks really are designed for maintaining backwards compatibility through focusing on vulnerability patching and bug fixing only, the active track, on the other hand, is the place where things happen. Here on the active track, we are launching new products and releasing new features, and we're innovate and improve our products to solve more and more use cases for our customers and their businesses. And also new cutting edge security features will also be only available on the active track. And as you can imagine, we're trying to maintain compatibility towards third-party systems on both track types, but to innovate and progress, software has to change, and it has to change rapidly to stay ahead on innovations. And we're trying to mitigate them, but sometimes we cannot really avoid hiccups from one upgrade to another. Welcome to active software development. So looking now at the star of this show, Access OS 11.10, it was released for more than 220 Access products and their variants. And to start with, we improved the event system. All products got the erase configuration action event that, when triggered, will let the device initiate a factory default to erase all its data. And this is really a feature that should be used carefully in high security scenarios where, for instance, the Access device is physically exposed and vulnerable to tampering and theft, and where you really want to make sure that no information stored on the device can be extracted. In addition to that, all video-capable devices are now able to stream MJPEG-based profiles through the Send Video Clip event. That is an event that is used to transmit video to an external server, such as an HTTPS server or a network share. And also, and as we do it with almost every Access OS release, we upgrade some of our software components, such as OpenSSL and curl, for patching recently discovered vulnerabilities. And now it was just time again. And at the same time, Docker-based ACAP applications got an improvement and are now able to run without root privileges, so that we can adopt them more to a least privilege-like architecture in the operating system. And last but not least, we have added a couple of features for some specific products. But before we take a look at those, I want to emphasize to you to check out the release notes for the Access OS 11.10 release, because that will include a complete list of all the changes for your reference. So coming back now on the product specific features, we have added barrel distortion correction for better image quality to the P4705, 07 and 08. And also we added zip support that got into the M4216 and 18 now. And for the M3216, we have added the power meter that allows for PoE consumption measurements on the device. And lastly, we have added a new view layout called 1+3 pin view for the F9114. And that concludes it for Access OS 11.10. And now let's look at what comes next. So we're preparing right now on delivering a technical update on the upcoming Access OS 12 breaking changes. That is followed by a dedicated troubleshooting session that will help you with considerations and useful informations for when upgrading devices to Access OS 12. And then in June, we're back with the Access OS 11.11 release update and some special on the 2024 LTS track. And that's it for today. I hope you find this update useful, and I will leave you with a couple of links to explore further information. And thank you so much for joining, and keep an eye on new videos in our Access OS playlist on YouTube.